Coming up on Gameball NFL Endzone, Mike and I preview Super Bowl 54. One team's looking to win it for the first time in 25 years, the other the first time in 50 years. Our second segment, we're going to talk about which team has the edge, offense, defense, special teams, coaching. And in the third segment, our Super Bowl 54 predictions. Coming up on Gameball NFL Endzone.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. It's your boy, Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
We are here, finally, Super Bowl 54. We're going to break down the conference championship games. Also, we're going to talk about who has the edge, offense, defense, special teams, and coaches. Then we'll make our Super Bowl 54 predictions. Segment number 1. The two cast conference championship scores and recaps. Tennessee Titans 24, Kansas City Chiefs 35. Green Bay Packers 20, San Francisco 49ers 37. Let's break it down.
Starting off with that Titans-Chiefs game, can't say I was too terribly surprised. I think I had the Chiefs going like 24-20. I figured Tennessee covered the spread or whatever else. Actually, wasn't even surprised when they got up 10-0 either. But I could kind of tell when Pat Mahomes made that basically last play of the first half. That was a franchise-defining play for the Chiefs. May have been the single biggest play in the history of Chiefs football. Like it really could have been. They got the second half kickoff as well after that. They weren't able to score. A touchdown. They would have made it 28-17, which would have completely put it out of hand. But you can tell just how much that Chiefs defense has grown since the Week 10 game against Tennessee, where Henry had 188 yards on him. They held him to 69 yards on this last game there. Didn't let him beat him out of the backfield. They didn't really do anything too wild and crazy on defense either. Just literally play kind of a run blitz here and there, but basically a sound defense. They were just very fundamentally sound, and just a ground and pound team like the Titans. But really, the basic fundamentals is all the more it takes to at least give yourself a chance against them.
Well, the thing with me about the Tennessee Titans, why did you go away from your identity, who you were? You had them on the hills, ground and pound, first part of the game, 10-0. You was doing good, moving the ball. You took 7 minutes off the clock. The time possession was in your favor. You had the Chiefs offense on the sidelines just staring, shaking their heads. It was coming to your play, and you just decide to try to go pass happy. You can't do that, and you totally abandoned the running game. I mean, you down by a few points here and there, but don't abandon the running game. Just keep pounding the ball. Just keep grounding and pounding, and play defense. And I didn't like the way that they play their defense at all. It's just like I didn't like the fact that they weren't aggressive enough. They just kept playing soft zone, and the Chiefs just kept exposing it. So you got to be aggressive. Just sometimes you just got to risk it. If you get beat, you just get beat. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't like the game plan the second half of the Tennessee Titans. It's just kind of like they hit the panic button once Kansas City Chiefs got rolling. You don't need to do that against this team. If you're down like 4 points, just keep being who you are. Just keep running your identity, ground and pound, and just run out the clock. That's how I may be a little bit biased, but not too biased. That's how the Patriots was able to beat the Chiefs last year in the AFC Championship game once they were down by a few points, they just like, okay, we're not going to run away who we are. We're just going to keep grounding, pounding, take one play at a time, not be too nervous. If we duke it out overtime, let's duke it out in overtime. If we lose, we lose. Fortunately, they went to the Super Bowl, won a 6th title. So what I'm saying is that they shouldn't abandon their identity and just totally dismiss the running game. That's what I saw from my 2 cents for a distance. And the Chiefs, you got to get them credit where credit's due. First time in 50 years back in the Super Bowl, and dedicated that AFC Championship to Lamar Hunt, rest in peace and up in heaven. So who was the creator of the AFL, let you know that. And defense stepped up big, and offensively, and Andy Reid actually ran the ball for once. I was like, what? I was like, we all accustomed to seeing him not run the ball. Actually did run the ball for once. So if I would like to see more of that in the Chiefs offense if they're going to win against a very good 49ers team in the Super Bowl. All right, Green Bay Packers, San Francisco 49ers, break it down.
Yeah, this is just a straight whaling that the Niners put on them, a good old-fashioned woodshed game, if you will. I believe on last week's podcast I was suggesting that San Francisco would really kind of be controlling the game everywhere but on the scoreboard. Well, I was half right. They controlled the game in every aspect you can imagine. They controlled it on the scoreboard as well at 27-0 at halftime. Raheem Mostert, believe he set a AFC, NFC championship game record for rushing yards in a game.
220.
Kudos to him. Kudos to Kyle Shanahan for not throwing the ball when they had a sizable lead. Decided to go Army, Air Force, Navy on them, if you will. And Garoppolo was 6 of 8 passing the ball, but
88 yards.
Had a very comfortable lead. Had a running back that was carrying the load there. And good news for 49ers fans is Mostert should have some help down there in Miami. Tevin Coleman, he believe left the game with the separated shoulder. He's expected to play in the Super Bowl.
And also the pick 6 of the defense as well from the 49ers. And Richard Sherman, he did give up a big play, but he made up for it. Mm-hmm. And when Richard Sherman came from the Seahawks to the 49ers, it's just like he brought that Legion of Boom swag and all that. And a year later, they're in the Super Bowl. You got to give credit to the owner for hiring general manager John Lynch, former Bronco, former Buccaneer, who knew what he was doing. He got criticized for that because he never been in the office, but he played the game of football as a former player. You know the ins and outs of the locker room, and you know what it takes. And he's my candidate for general manager of the year, so, and he got a contract extension, well deserved. So kudos to John Lynch for building the team, man. And Kyle Shanahan, he just stuck with a good game plan. He ain't need to throw the ball. Why not? Run it. We're physical. We're more bullies than they are. And the Green Bay Packers, it wasn't right from the get-go. Once they got a big lead, it was just basically over. Offense, defense, and special teams, it was a disaster. Too many turnovers, too many mistakes. And the cheeseheads is more like molded cheeseheads going back home to Green Bay. I'm just being honest. So they got a lot of work to do in the offseason. They had a good season, but... Hey,
yeah, exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. Shout out to Tennessee and Green Bay. They get too many times, and it's going to happen again in the Super Bowl. You know, Kansas City or San Francisco is going to lose, and they're going to be kind of an afterthought because they lost the game. You made the AFC NFC Championship game, Green Bay and Tennessee did. You made the Super Bowl. So, great season for them. I think the Titans are going to be even a better regular season team next year. Don't know that Green Bay can go 13-3 again. They can definitely win the North. They could possibly be another top 2 team in the NFC. So, great, Greg. Shout out, great season to both them teams as well.
Exactly. We'll just have to see how the offseason goes and all that stuff. But other than that, that will do it for the first segment of Gameball NFL Endzone. Coming back in the second segment, which team has the edge? Offense, defense, special teams, and coach. So stick around. We just getting started. Why go anywhere else? Gameball NFL Endzone coming right back at you. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Segment number 2. We're going to talk about which team has the edge. Let's start offense. Who has the edge here, 49ers or Chiefs?
I got to check the Chiefs box on this one. San Francisco, they actually outscored Kansas City this year. I believe the 49ers scored 410 points to the Chiefs 408. So they technically had a better scoring offense than Kansas City did this year. Then you take time to realize that, Pat Mahomes missed basically 3 games if you count the game against Denver where he got hurt in the first half. Matt Moore stepped in, filled in admirably, and then, the 2 opportunities he got, 2.5. Did what you'd expect Matt Moore to do, but it kind of did hurt the overall numbers there. But the thing I like about Kansas City, they don't run the ball quite as well as San Francisco does, but they got a healthy offensive line. Their line's as healthy as it's been all year, number 1. Number 2, Mahomes has the arm and the Kansas City receivers have the speed. They could throw Richard Sherman's way 5, 7, 9 times the Super Bowl if they have to. I don't think they're going to see him. You won't see Mahomes shy away from the Richard Sherman side of the field, as other quarterbacks have admitted to doing before. So that's the biggest reason why I like to tell you I like the Chiefs' offense in this matchup. Not necessarily that matchup, but I want to check them over the Niners' offense because they're going to allow the whole field to be available to them, even with Sherman on one side of the field. Another reason I like the Chiefs' offense on this one is because if they're down 17-7, 20-7, 24-7, 24-0 like they were. Might be, a little bit different animal against San Francisco than Houston. We know they can come back. We know Pat's going to make that play to at least, if not get him the lead, get that momentum going for him. You can suspect that Garoppolo can do that for San Francisco, but until we see it, we don't know.
I agree. I give the slightest edge, just a slight, to the Chiefs' offense due to the weapons they have offensively. They can spread the ball out, get the ball out their hand quick, and score at will. And they can roar back into the game, and you can never count out the Chiefs. And they've been since Patrick Mahomes took over, top 5 offense in the last couple of years. And so they're pretty good, but the thing that I don't like about it is when they're down big like that, can they make the plays to come back against a really good team? That I haven't seen yet. Against the Texans, we know where the Texans is, and the same thing with the Tennessee Titans, but against an elite defense, can you come back for that? That I haven't seen yet. So, I'll give the slightest edge to the Chiefs offense. All right, defense, who you give that to?
Doing the slightest of checks to San Francisco on this one. A lot of talk about who's going to get the better of what matchup. Who's going to outperform whom, Mahomes or Garoppolo or Kelsey or Kittle. I'm keeping my eye on Frank Clark and Nick Bosa. I think whichever one can be. Now defensively, statistics don't tell the whole story because you can completely, raise all sorts of hell in the backfield without getting any tackles, any sacks, whatever else on there. Let your other defensive lineman eat there as well. Chiefs, their secondary's a little weak without Juan Thornhill in there. Great rookie year for him before he got hurt. And the 49ers secondary, Richard Sherman aside, kind of average at best. Sherman makes him look a lot better than what he does when he only has to defend half the field, which it could be a problem for him this upcoming game. We'll see about that as well. But I like the Niners defensively because I think they have a better linebacking core than the Chiefs do. I think, you got former Chief D Ford in there leading the way. You got Quan Alexander healthy, ready to go. Mm-hmm. Them linebackers, they can cover, they can get after the quarterback. They can drop in coverage. They can put linebackers on Kelsey. In a situation, you don't want to live the whole game like that. But situationally, they got the linebackers you can put on Kelsey every 5th to 6th play of the game and get away with it. So I think they got a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more athletes at the linebacker position.
I agree. I'll give the edge to the 49ers. I think they have the best front 7 in the NFL. In my opinion, better than the Patriots was, and I hate to say that, that's my team, but I'm just being honest here. And there's the top 5 defense playing the Super Bowl, last defense in the game.
Biggest difference I have up to this point is I have the Chiefs offense about this much above the Niners offense. I got the Niners defense only about this much above the KC defense. I think the KC defense is more on par than what the 2 offenses are.
Yeah. And so I have to give that. And also, I like the style of the defense that the 49ers is playing. You know what type of defense, who that kind of reminds me of? The 2013 championship defense of Seattle Seahawks, where you can rush forward and don't have to blitz. That's what I like about it. And their scheming-wise is incredible. Kudos to the defensive coordinator, who should have been a head coach right now. Yes, I said it. He has a bright future in the head coaching game. And it's just the style they play. And they got athletic linebackers that can cover. And you got Nick Bosa, automatic rookie of the year. You got D4, who's looking for a redemption game from last year in the AFC Championship game with the Chiefs. And you also got Buckner and the crew and all that.
Yeah, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Dre Greenlaw as well. Both the games against Seattle, he had a huge pick at the goal line in overtime there, ran it back past the 50, setting up what would have been a game-winning field goal that was a shank attempt by backup kicker C.J. McLaughlin, and he made perhaps the play of the NFL season, stopping Jacob Hollister 4 inches from a division championship and first-round advantage for home field advantage for him. 4 inches separated them from having to go to Philadelphia the following week. Dre Greenlaw making a huge play there. He'd probably be their best, like, as I mentioned here a moment ago, he'd be the guy that they would situationally put on Kelsey and perhaps get away with it here and there.
Yeah, and I like the way they're like physical. When they put their hands on you, you can't do nothing. So, and they already face mobile quarterbacks, especially in their division. So
Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson.
And I think this will help them out more preparing for Patrick Mahomes. So,
those are also some of the games they had most of their struggles against, though, too. I mean, Seattle, split with them, possibly swept them, and while they got both games against the Cardinals, both were one-score games. And the Cardinals, I believe, had the ball in the fourth quarter with a chance to take the lead in both games as well. So the mobile quarterbacks, they are up to this point, the San Francisco kryptonite. As that is with a lot of that's not a knock on the Niners defense. Mobile quarterbacks, these dual threat guys, the Lamar Jacksons of the world and whatever else, they're hell for any defense, to be fair.
And I think that's what's helped them out to get prepared for the Super Bowl. Now, Mahomes, he doesn't have that same mobility since coming back for that dislocated kneecap. So I give the edge to the 49ers. Special teams, who you got?
Got to go with, I think throughout the regular season, I would have said Kansas City and special teams there. But they, the way their special teams looked against Houston, I just really can't do that in confidence. You look at this San Francisco team, they haven't been behind. And outside of a 7-7 tie with Minnesota, they haven't been tied at all in the playoffs here. Kansas City's been down by scores of 24-0, 10-0, 17-7. Now, granted, 10-0 and 17-7 were the same game, but they have had to play from behind a little bit, and they've had to play from behind, not so much against the Titans, but because of their special teams. So the 49ers have had a much better playoff than the Chiefs special teams have to this point.
Yeah, I'll give the edge to the 49ers special teams. They're well coached, well disciplined, and they can make the important play of the game when they need to. Either a turnover or a punt return, set them a good field position, all that. The Chiefs, yeah, like you was alluding to, and every now and then Harmon gets like a big play for kickoff or punt return or whatever.
Yeah, that KC special teams is too boom or bust. Yeah. I mean, they'll run one back for a touchdown on you, but they'll also fumble one at the 6-yard line like Tyreek Hill did as well.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll give that to the 49ers. Coaching, who you got?
Going to go with Kansas City in this one. Andy Reid, 19-3 with 2 weeks to prepare in his career. I'm going to leave it at that. Throwing defending Kyle Shanahan was the Falcons OC with a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. Got to go with Andy Reid in this one.
I'm going to go with the draw on this one. 2 weeks prepared, Andy Reid is good, but we don't know what Kyle Shanahan's going to throw at him. And also, he came up from the coaching tree of his dad, of Kyle Shanahan. And so I'm going to give that a draw because we don't know what's going to be added, what is going to be thrown in there. There are two good offensive mind in the NFL. Andy Reid's been there for a lot longer than Kyle Shanahan, but we'll just have to see. And so I'll just go with the draw. Now, another question. Which head coach is under more pressure to win the Super Bowl?
I got to go with Andy Reid in this one. I mean, he's in the Super Bowl for the second time. First time since Super Bowl 39 against the Patriots. So it's been 15 years for him for getting back to the biggest of stages there. And he lost that Super Bowl to the Patriots as well. Shanahan, third year as a head coach here. He's young. The team is young. You can argue that Shanahan might be under a little bit more pressure to win now, though, because you look at the AFC West and the NFC West. I think Reid has lost three AFC West games in 7 years, and then you look at that NFC West. I mean, you talk about a murderer's row. I mean, there's a legit chance that all 4 teams could finish 10-6 next year. Haven't checked the schedules for all of them, but I mean the Seahawks are only going to make adjustments to the defensive side of the ball that's going to help them better. They still got Russell Wilson, got a young nucleus around Russell Wilson on offense. Kyler Murray in Arizona is just getting it started. The Rams, I mean, they went 9-7. I know they missed the playoffs after going to the Super Bowl last year. They were a 9-7 football team, and they're equally as talented as anyone. And San Francisco kind of speaks for themselves. So that's just going to be an absolute gauntlet of a division for them. So if you say, hey, it might be now or never for Shanahan, I understand. But at the same time, not sure how many more chances Andy Reid's going to get either, despite being in a somewhat. Depending on what happens with the Patriots and Brady over the offseason, I think the only thing that's going to derail the Chiefs from a Super Bowl 55 appearance is possibly the Ravens or injuries.
I'm going to have to say Kyle Shanahan's under more pressure. The reason why I say that is because what went down in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. As an offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, you was up by 25 points. 25 points, I remind you, and you decided to pass the ball instead of running the ball to drain out the clock, and that has been a stain on you ever since then, and Atlanta Falcons has never recovered. They made it to the playoffs, didn't win a game, and they missed the last 2 postseasons, and they're in the top 10, top 15 NFL draft, so I think Kyle Shanahan is under more pressure, and he needs to redeem himself because people at Atlanta still feel like he abandoned him by taking the job as San Francisco 49ers head coach, which you can't really blame him. But you still have those be like, hey, you left us hanging, bruh. Why you didn't call a running play instead of a pass and whoop-de-whoop? We was up big and all this other stuff, so I will put the more pressure under Kyle Shanahan than Andy Reid. All right, that will do it for our second segment. Third segment, we're coming right back. We'll give you our picks. Who is going to win Super Bowl 54? That's 54, but I'm going to say 54. So stick around. Gameball NFL Endzone coming back at you. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Segment number 3, the Super Bowl 54 matchup and predictions. Break it down, brother.
I mean, we pretty much did all the breaking down in that second segment right there, and I think I had got the Chiefs taking the offense and the coaching. I got San Francisco taking the defense and the special teams. So no decisive advantage either way there. So for me, it comes down to a matter of pride. We did our Super Bowl 53 recap last year, one day after Super Bowl 53. Picked the Kansas City Chiefs to go to and win the Super Bowl. So while I'm not a Chiefs fan, I want to be right. I want to be right more than anything else. So because I picked them to win in the preseason and they have made it to the grandest stage, I'm almost obligated to pick them to win. But it's not just, that reason alone. They did go 12-4. They haven't lost since I think that Week 10 game at Tennessee. San Francisco's looked great in the playoffs. Their last 5 regular season games were one-score possessions. One heart-racing game on Week 17 to secure home field. Lost a home game to Atlanta, I think, a couple weeks before that in similar fashion, where I think Julio Jones, we mentioned that they stopped Hollister about 4 inches short of the goal line. Julio probably broke the plane by about 2 inches. I mean, he just got that sucker across. So, Chiefs are a 1.5-point favorite, so I feel a little bit confident right there. But I look at the teams that San Francisco either lost to or struggled to beat. Cardinals, the Seahawks, to a lesser extent the Falcons. Kansas City does a lot of things those other teams do, but they do it a little bit better. And I think Fox 4 Kansas City this past Saturday night before the AFC Championship, they showed the classic 1994 Monday Night Football game, and it's in 3-hour entirety. Joe Montana, John Elway. Pat Mahomes, he's the closest thing to John Elway I've seen since Elway retired. Arm strength, mobility, smarts, having it between the ears, knowing when to tuck it and run, knowing when to check down, knowing how and when to make a ill-advised 60-yard pass but get away with it. Mahomes is special, and I think he's the best player on the field. I think he can, as long as the Chiefs don't fall too far behind too soon, like the Chiefs to win. I think it's going to be just a fascinating finish. A little bit of scoring in this one. San Francisco, I think they're going to try to do what Tennessee did. I think they'll be a little bit more successful in what Tennessee was with the game plan. They'll stay in it. I think they'll be able to run the football well. I think you see Garoppolo. He'll get Kittle involved. He'll get Debo involved. He'll get Emmanuel Sanders involved as well. Most of it will have some help with the running back position there. Tevin Coleman expected to play. I think Nick Bosa is going to be heard from. He'll be he'll be bringing company, him and company. We're giving Mahomes fits all day. We covered the linebackers. We covered Sherman the secondary. Still think that the Chiefs make one more play. They win 35-31.
You already giving your picks early?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to wait on it. For San Francisco to win, it has to be their front seven getting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he's doing a thing, but mobility to move-wise, he hasn't been the same since that dislocated knee. And I think the 49ers bend but don't break. They're able to make plays. Every now and then they give up chunk plays, and they'll always make up for it. And I think that going against those dual threat quarterbacks is really going to help them out against Patrick Mahomes. We'll see what they do on defense, but offensively, run the ball, be effective. Jimmy Garoppolo be consistent in passing game, and don't have no turnovers. If you could be disciplined for 60 minutes and play mistake-free football, they'll win this game. Kansas City Chiefs, same thing, but you are going against a good 49ers defense. It's going to take a lot for razzle-dazzle here and there and speed to beat them. You're going to have to be a bully and out-physical them. And what the 49ers like to do is they may not have the speed, but they'll punch you in the mouth and be physical. And if the Chiefs can do that, they'll be able to win this game. And you're going to see a lot against Travis Kelce. He has to step up, be physical. There's been at times in games he's been a little soft. And he don't like to get tackled at times and this and that. Don't like to be touched. I'm just calling like I see it. I'm not saying he can't play. It's just at times with teams roughed him up here and there, he looks soft. He can't be soft in this game. He has to be all out, aggressive, blocking the running game as well, be effective in the passing game. and he can have a big game, then everybody else can have a big game. And the running game has to come alive for the play action, all these passes that Andy Reid likes to do. So you got to run the ball more efficient and effectively. And for Kansas City defense, you have to get pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo. You have to stop George Kittle, because George Kittle is a grown man tight end. He's the second thing to Rob Gronkowski, in my opinion. He blocks well, and he catches well, and he runs well, and he could take 3 to 4 people with him. We saw that against the Saints game, and he just took like everybody. That is a grown man tight end. And they have to stop the running game. They got to force Jimmy Garoppolo, beat him in the passing game and all that. So if the Chiefs can do that, they'll win. And you pick Kansas City. I'm going to San Francisco 49ers on this one. I think the Niners is going to make that one key play, that one key turnover on defense. I just have a hunch that it's going to happen. Either it's going to be a fumble or interception to win the game. It'll be a close game, but I said the 49ers defense is going to come alive, and they're going to be the underdog in this game. They already had that confidence, that swag, that they can do it, and I like their front seven better. I believe that their offense will do just enough to melt the clock, get them in position, and score touchdowns when they need to. And I think George Kittle offensively will be the MVP of the 49ers offense. And defensive-wise, I think Richard Sherman's going to be the MVP. I don't know, but I'm just going with Sherman on this one to be MVP on defense. So I'm going to say the San Francisco 49ers wins their 6th Super Bowl title in 25 years, score of 35-27 over the Chiefs. And that will do it for Gameball NFL Endzone. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Gmail, all on the right side. To my right, it'll be your left. So make sure to follow all those social media platforms and outlets as well. And you can get your gear on our clothing line website at gameballshop.ecwid.com. That's gameballshop.ecwid.com. And you can also get on our official website page at gck-gnfle.com. That's gck-gnfle.com. And I'm going to pass it on to you.
All right, with the Super Bowl having 2 weeks to get ready for, we're not going to be no NFL podcast next week. Some things to do. A little shout out time. This weekend we got the Pro Bowl, got the NFL Pro Bowls this weekend. Got the NHL All-Star Game for those that are in the pucks. This upcoming weekend, this immediate upcoming weekend, college basketball, SEC Big 12 Challenge. So plenty to hold you over until the Super Bowl gets back. And when we do our Super Bowl recap, we'll certainly break it down for you. Give us your preview. Who's going to make the Super Bowl 55? Kansas City or San Francisco make it back? Maybe both, maybe neither. We'll let you know. And some more entertainment. The NBA. That's a setup. Watch the Mavericks. Luka Doncic. Why Luka Doncic? Because follow me on Facebook. Luka Hartnett. Luka Hartnett. I'm Luke Hartnett 1. Follow me on Twitter at Luke Hartnett 2.
And you can't forget our other brother, Marcus Young Genius Jenkins, who's on the West Coast right now. He'll be back on an upcoming podcast in the near future coming up, where we got the NFL mock draft and all that good stuff coming on. You can follow him on social media, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Jovel ENT, all in one word. And do not forget the underscore. I'm Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
This is Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out, and see you after the Super Bowl.